Okay. Bullshit. This is bullshit. Okay, literally. I mean, no offense. In fact, I prefer to train seemingly dangerous giant bulls with horns and milking cows by hand rather than being a modern slave. I was a corporate prostitute. And my tie was a chain to a 6-figure income, 2 startups, 2 flats in 2 cities, and I had 4 patents registered. Prosperity was waiting at my doorstep. Yet I was wearing golden handcuffs. So why did I prefer to sell heaps of bullshit? Well, I remember as if it was yesterday, this bittersweet moment in a winter night 2009 when I was holding my newborn baby boy. He woke up crying and I carried him around back and forth, and it was a precious father-son moment. And at the same time, I was holding my phone and writing business emails. So I was not really there in that moment with him. I was somewhere else in my mind. And it hit me painfully because I saw myself running like a hamster in my own hamster wheel. And at that time of my life, I would wake up in the morning and immediately connect with my emails and start working. Then commuting 1.5 hours just to sit under fluorescent light in a cubicle for the rest of the day. I could see myself turning into a whole different person if I wouldn't put my foot on the brake. Because I was heading towards the same dead end where my colleagues already were at. They had heart attacks, kidney failure, cancer, depression, anxieties, burnout. Yeah, no wonder, because there's not much fresh air in the cubicle, not much sunlight in the cubicle. Yeah, no exercise, sitting at the desk all day. And no life in canteens food. And there's no life in many people. Yeah. Many people just exist. I was sure that I will never be like that. And yet I was just existing. I was selling my soul for money with which I would buy instant gratification. For example, on Amazon Prime. So I would buy all these useful things, only things that I really, really, really needed, right? You know what I mean? So by the time these boxes would arrive, I already had totally forgotten what I ordered in an absent-minded urge on my phone. So I would be pumped to know what's in the box and connect with these feelings of fleeting short-term happiness, being like hyper excited, like a boy that has birthday every day. So yeah, I was materially intoxicated and at the same time materially exhausted. So I was ready to do whatever is necessary to get out of that golden cubicle cage. Yet at the same time, it was pretty scary because I didn't know how to start and if I have what it takes. So I was seeking external approval, someone to tell me what's right, what's wrong. And I didn't want to leave behind my seemingly safe security nets, my income, my job. And I was just afraid, will my wife freak out, my relatives, will they support me? And anyway, I had so many attachments and contracts and clutter binding me that there were moments in my life when I would have been relieved to see my own house catching fire. And yeah, I decided to not get bitter about life, but see it as God's gift that I have some stewardship over, because I just wanted to live peacefully, joyfully, naturally, healthy, sustainable, Simple. I wanted to eat fresh food from the garden and be together with my family in nature and live a life that is not harming the planet. So the solution for me was to live close to nature. And I can tell you, I prefer to have nature and God as my boss. So once I stepped out of my hamster wheel, I realized that this bullshit brings me real wealth and prosperity, and that there are two powerful principles that anyone can apply in a doable way. Simple living, high thinking. Simple living, high thinking means to make life very simple. Plain living, minimize material necessities, and at the same time, the thinking should be very high. Okay, what does that mean practically? Simple living means to let go of unwanted things externally, and high thinking means to let go of unwanted, unhealthy thoughts and attachments internally. For example, like thinking, I am my job. I'm not my job, and I'm not my vehicle, I'm not my phone, I'm not my lipstick, I'm not my clothes, I'm not my hairstyle, and I'm not even my body. Yeah, I'm the person behind that suit and tie, the soul inside. How did we apply simple living, high thinking in our life? We just started to declutter our garage, where we had unopened moldy boxes piled up to the ceiling, almost falling over, and so much maybe useful in the future stuff. And we looked at our overfilled kitchen counter with all the appliances that we would hardly ever use, all the accumulated books that I will never read, all the toys scattered around everywhere. And I looked at medicines expired from the last millennium. So we sold, dumped, donated most of our household stuff for the next 9 months straight, and we just kept what we really needed. And I started to feel relaxed and relieved, and I gained some momentum and motivation to simplify in any other area of my life. So I stopped eating pre-packaged, processed factory food that's only binding my energy, and instead I learned from old wisdom traditions how to eat natural, tasty food that makes me alive. And I stopped taking my asthma spray that I had taken for over 25 years every day just to suppress the symptoms of a supposedly unhealable illness. And when I applied ancient medicine, I started breathing freely again. And I stopped identifying with being a project manager anymore and checking my emails as the first thing in the morning, just connecting my half-sleepy mind with stress. And I developed a healthy habit of mantra meditation that calms my mind every day. So in 2014, we made a bold move and escaped the cubicle and city life to a tropical island where we lived in a simple cottage. Starfruit trees in the back, coconut trees in the front, papaya and pineapple every day, and living off-grid, 2 solar panels only, the beach and river next to us, and just a heaven on earth, okay? So we also experienced some adventures in a tiny home in the USA on a field where we also lived off-grid, and where my children at that time, 7 and 9 years old, were planting a bag of seeds and around grains, and around 150 days later, we harvested many, many barrels of our own grains, organic, gluten-free, non-GMO, heirloom, in an epic family event. And these finest grains, we did turn them into fresh bread for the next 10 months. That's real abundance. And we had cows and a bull and milk and cheese and cream and yogurt. Of course, we had bullshit. And my wife started to follow her dream, changed her occupation, and helps women to give birth naturally now. I started to follow my dream and write a book about, guess what, bullshit and simple living, high thinking, to help like-minded souls on their journey. And we just have time to be together, and to be silly, childlike, carefree. And I spend time to play with my children without any distractions or deadlines. And we have time to look at the sky and see stars and see more sunrises and to walk barefoot the whole day. So the kids there are playing with mud and trees and animals for hours, and they're just self-satisfied with what they have and where they are. They are going through the school of simple living. And I'm convinced that anyone can choose to stop running like a hamster in the hamster wheel and choose that school of simple living. Our family of 4 today does not own more than what fits in 8 suitcases. Okay, and a couple of bags, So, when we arrived initially on Fiji Island, I was just happy that there was no external pressure. And soon I noticed I was repeating the exact same toxic patterns as before, but in paradise. So I would plant more than we needed. I would collect way more coconuts than we can ever eat. And I observed my little rascal mind going like, well, we could squeeze out the oil from the coconut and then we fill it in bottles and then we ship it overseas and sell it on Amazon Prime. What a brilliant plan, wasn't it? I was putting unnecessary pressure on myself in paradise. Makes totally sense. Because I was still attached to that feverish pursuit of happiness in external things. I was caught in a simplicity trap. So you see, I was already living simple, but my mind was hungry for complication. And because of that, I was neglecting my internal life. And because I neglected my internal spiritual life, there was no peace of mind. So I understood that in order to live a really peaceful life, I want to combine that simplifying externally and engaging my mind in internal purification, like self-realization, high thinking. And once I did that, I got confirmed that this is indeed just the tip of the iceberg of abundance in simple living, high thinking. Because we sold these for thousands and thousands because they have real value. And I don't know if you know, but scientific research has proven that this is antiseptic. So you can turn it into soap. You can use it for cleaning, no kidding. And you can burn this patty and the smoke will purify the air and kill all kinds of viruses and bacteria. And the ash from that you can take internally as a medicine and it will drive out even radioactivity. I know, that's far out. And that was when I realized there's a higher power than myself guiding me. And I listened to that higher guidance inside to re-identify with myself instead of my job. And when I was doing that, I was asking myself, who am I? What is my purpose of life? And when I was asking these questions while already living simple, I was developing a relationship to the earth and God. And then I got real peace of mind and tremendous freedom inside and just a joy and fun in anything that I create, to an extent where I see pots of gold in heaps of bullshit. And I don't know how your individual hamster wheel looks like and how your simple living journey will unfold. But I encourage you to start it right now. Inquire about your own bullshit and where you are overly attached to being your job, or where you are overly complicating your daily life, where you are identifying with being your body. And how can you simplify any of those areas in your life today? What was gold for me once, identifying with being a manager, that's bullshit for me now. And what was bullshit for me once, just living a simple life, that is gold for me now. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.